Got a Craftsman snowblower and a Yard Machine snowblower here. One of them starts and surges real bad, the other one won't start at all. Probably going to do a carburetor cleaning on both of them. Both exactly the same engines, except one has electric start, one doesn't. So this one here doesn't start at all, no matter what you do to it. The other one will start. It surges really bad. All it needs is a on these engines, all you're really going to need is a pair of pliers, flathead screwdriver, possibly a pair of needle nose, a drain hose, and a bucket to catch it in if you've got fuel in it. It'll take you about 15 minutes. So the first thing you want to do when you're working on any small engine, be it a Craftsman, a Yard Machines, or anything else, you want to unplug the spark plug wire just to make sure you don't get an accidental start. Numerous deaths a year are caused by this, and numerous fingers are lost. So what we'll need here to get this done is usually a pair of needle nose pliers. You can use a 10mm long on a ratchet. You can try to use a 10mm wrench, but it's going to be very difficult. There's one screw that's kind of hard to get to, so 10mm like this. Really about all you'll need. 10mm and a pair of needle nose pliers. Take the whole thing apart. So we'll get started. 10mm bolts here on the side. Two up at the front here, straight through, goes right out. And then if you look straight down through here, you can see there's a place in the plastic while we're taking it off that all that will slide out. So if you have it about right here, you can see up in here there's a space in the plastic. So you want to line that right up as you take it off. You'll pry up the choke here at the top, come right off, and then you'll pull the whole thing out. Straight out and up, flip it over. You want to be careful of the lines back here, the lines, note those. Flip it up, note where those go, where the wiring goes. You want to take the two 10mm here off the front of the carburetor. Pull the plastic and the whole carburetor out, and the plastic up and off. Fuel line comes off. You usually want to twist it to the side to get it broken free. So you usually want to twist it to the side to get it broken free. I usually twist it with a pair of pliers, and then I'll grab a pair of needle nose. Start at the bottom, rock up, just to make sure you don't tear the fuel line. You can use a 1/4 inch fuel shutoff, you can use a fuel filter, you can use just about anything else just to connect to this line to drain the fuel if there's bad fuel in it. This one I think has horrible fuel, the other one was dry, the one that runs. Yeah, so the fuel in this just looks horrible. You can see it's draining out, looks watery looking. That's probably why it's not starting. The carburetor's probably all gummed up. So we're going to take the carburetor apart and get it all cleaned up, get this thing back off and up and working. So here to get the carburetor the rest of the way off, you're going to take the primer hose off here. You just pull straight up, pops right off. Carburetor out. As you're pulling it out here on the back side, take the spring off first, just up and out. And then as you're pulling the carburetor out, if you pull the linkage to the back up, it'll come right out also. None of this will come off in the back, so you don't really have to worry about it as long as you do it this way. You will have to kind of pull on the frame on some of these to get these to come off. So we'll kind of have to have someone hold down the side down there, pull, and the thing will come off. The other one, it's a lot easier because the handle isn't really in the way, but this one's kind of more difficult. So we're going to get this up on the bench, get it all taken apart. This is a Huayi carburetor that we will be cleaning possibly rebuilding and putting back together. So we've got both carburetors off here. This one here is the one that we pulled off of the one that would not start at all. This one here is the one we pulled off of the other one. The choke assembly is a little bit different on this. It looks like the whole assembly popped up when we were trying to take this one off, but it is pretty much the same thing. They are the same carburetors overall, just a little bit different. So we're going to take them apart here. You want the 10mm here to get the bottom off. You can see clearly the difference that the fuel has caused all over this. It's almost like a calcification all over it, down through the middle. That's your main jet down through there. You do want to make sure that that is 100% free. That is where all of the fuel that runs the whole snowblower goes through. So we're going to take that out. There is a notch down through there for a screwdriver that will take that out. But here, to take off the float, I'm just going to take the pin out here, straight out. If it's hard to take out, you can use a pair of needle nose pliers on the edge, kind of pry out to get it going. Sometimes the needle will actually be stuck down in there also. If you use a pair of needle nose for that, you can get it out usually by grabbing it from the end right here without damaging it and turning from side to side and then pulling up. A lot of times that's what's preventing your snowblower from getting fuel. It's just stuff all over the needle. You see there, it's all over the needle. So here, if you look at the tip of the needle, you can see that there's stuff all around it. That's what's causing the snowblower not to start. Not to mention all the stuff around here. That is just horrible, horrible ethanol buildup. So we're going to take the jet out of the middle here also. You can see down in there, it's got the stuff all down in it. We're going to clean all down in here real well. Take all this out. You can do that. It's about the best screwdriver you can use. Something that fits nice and tight down in there. You should kind of hold it and push while you're turning to make sure it locks and actually comes out, because if you strip it, it's made of brass. As soon as you strip it, you will not be able to get it out of there. Take it out, kind of hit it on a soft surface. You can just see the ethanol just build up coming out like crazy. Times. If it will not come out, down in here you can see the jet right straight through the middle. You can use a screwdriver and push it down. Once you do that, you usually spray a little bit of carburetor cleaner up in here, and that'll kind of eat away some of that ethanol in there and help you get it out. If it doesn't come out after a couple times, push it back up through and do it over again. Just covered. So that's the reason this isn't starting. All of those, there should be jets down straight through here. You should also be able to see straight down through there, and that's at 100% clogged. So all of that is ethanol buildup there. We're going to put this in the ultrasonic cleaner. There is one other thing here to take out, which is your top jet. If you do not clean this one up in here, you'll get bad surging out of the unit. So you want to take that all the way out, pry up here on either side, straight down through there. There is a hole. If that is plugged, you'll get bad surging also. So we're going to throw this in the cleaner. The other one is probably about the same thing, but you're not going to see as much. May be an issue with just kind of stale fuel in this one. The carburetor doesn't really look too bad, but we're going to go ahead and throw it in a cleaner also, get it cleaned up and get that fuel drained out. So this here is going to go straight over into the ultrasonic. Throw everything together here. Do not put this red seal from the bottom screw into any kind of cleaner at all. You can spray everything else off with a carburetor cleaner. We use the gum out. It doesn't burn your eyes as bad or do anything like that, so it works pretty well. But don't put that in any sort of cleaner. It'll kind of eat away and almost mush as things are going back together. So we use just a simple green mix in our carburetor cleaner to get everything clean. That usually eats all of this away. So we'll send it through the cleaner for, with this, probably about 15 or 20 minutes and come back and see how they're doing. Coming up out here, look quite a bit better. All the stuff's off of the inside of the bowl. All the stuff is off the inside of everything here. Just completely eaten away. All that's gone. So we're going to go ahead and spray it off with a carburetor cleaner, just to kind of get all the water dried up and everything. Get everything free here. The carburetor cleaner is not real good on this gasket. Normally we take them out before we put them in the cleaner. We may have to replace that one if it's stretched out, but the other one should be okay. We're just going to do this one for now. So what you'll need to do the jets and clean them out, you will need either a piece of tag wire to clean the main jet. To clean the secondary jet, you will need something from a brush that's real tiny, just a really tiny brush to go through there. Torch tip cleaning kits come with pretty much everything you need. You'll still need something small off of a brush to get down through here. Through here you should be able to, if you blow it all out and if you clean it with carburetor cleaner, you should be able to go all the way through. What we got here? You should be able to go all the way through down in and see it on the inside there. Make sure that jet's nice and clean. If you don't, it'll surge real bad. So through here you can see it's still got some slime, some green buildup in it. We're going to clean that out here. Go through it, rough it up. I want to get all that out of there. Here on the back side, I also want to kind of dig around the edge, make sure that there's no buildup there. Inside here, I still got a little bit there. Carburetor cleaner here. Compressed air is your friend on this too. We usually use it, but almost got it cleaned out there. Just whatever you can use to get down in there to get it cleaned out, you know. If you don't have all these tools, it doesn't take a whole lot, you know, just to get everything off the inside. They also sell the little kits where you've got brushes, something similar to this here. They are real nice to go down inside, kind of get here cleaned off real well. They do make them with metal bristles as well as just with the nylons here. The nylons seem to work pretty well. We usually just use the torch tip cleaning kits, the larger size, to clean these out. They work pretty well just going around the outside edge, cleaning it all out. Once it's nice and clean, you'll put everything back together. That there is pretty clean. This here was completely clogged. Are able to, if you shine light on the other side, you should be able to see all the way through that there. So you can see all the way through that, and then down through all of these holes. So I'm not sure if you can pick that up on camera or not, but you're going to want to make sure you can see all the way through all of those holes along the outside. They're 100% on opposite ends there is another hole, so and then straight down through there. Once that's all clean, which I think this one's pretty close, clean up the outside here just a little bit more. Make sure everything's nice and clean. You'll go ahead and put it together. The part with the ring goes in and down. Next you'll put your main jet in.
Oh, I got a call.
The float is still, that's fine, just stop it. So the float here, it came out just extremely clean, but we went ahead and left the needle and seat and the spring on there. You can take it off by slightly pushing in, pulling off. Sometimes in here it'll get all gummed up with any kind of ethanol gunk or varnish or anything like that. The thing you want to make sure is all along the surfaces here of this needle and seat assembly, you want that to be clean. If this is not clean on your edges especially, it will rub on the inside of that brass and it'll stick and it'll leak. You also want to look right here along the edge. You want to make sure there's no divots, nothing cracked, nothing looks off. So you can put that back together just kind of like that, hold it together, and then slip it up through. Perfect to go. Put that whole assembly back down in there. Once everything is clean, it should slide nice and smooth. If there's any catch up at all, it will catch and it will leak probably into your crankcase, which isn't a good thing at all. So that's something you want to make real good sure of. So the gasket around here, it's pretty worn out, all smashed. Got a little bit oversized too when I got the carburetor cleaner on it. This here, replacement 951-11589. That's going to be your new gasket. Go straight down on there. Put your cover back on. You can do most of this with just a 10mm impact or whatever, but you can also use a wrench for most of it. Down through here we've got that all cleaned out. You want to put it back together. Down in there, it usually slides pretty good, but if it doesn't, I usually hit it with the end of the screwdriver there. You want to put this back in, usually about 1/4 inch in is where you want to screw it. So once again, if you use this type screwdriver that's about the same width as a center jet, it's just perfect for these. Sometimes they're kind of these weird tool things. Works great with just a long width flathead screwdriver. So screw this in with about 1/4 inch to the other side or so, something like that. That should be about perfect. We'll put it back together and see how she runs. Getting it back on here, once you get everything in, you want to make sure this back gasket here is in really good shape. If it's not, replace it. Any air leak up front here towards the intake of the engine is going to be basically something that's going to cause your engine to run horrible. So you want to put it back together. I usually start with the spring. It's about the easiest thing. You get that spring on there. Bring your throttle linkage up as you're pushing, kind of push down. It usually goes in pretty smooth. Apparently sometimes you have some trouble with them. But once it's in, you should be able to move this back and forth. There should be no sticking if it's on high. And your choke should move freely, which it does, back and forth. Perfect. So I'm going to put the fuel line back on and the cover and everything else there. So make sure you don't leave any old fuel in it. That's a horrible mistake. If it's over a month or so old, get some fresh stuff. So front gasket, not as important, but we're going to get that on there. You will have to kind of pull this back out a little bit, just barely, to throw all that together. Once you've got it lined up, kind of get this back hose lined up before you screw everything tight, just to make sure you don't have to bend it all around too much. Back on there. Tighten it on down snug. And now the top back on. Last piece of the puzzle. Run everything up there. And then you'll come around here. And I want to make sure that those go back to where they came from. So, primer line here. You primer line back into here. Everything locked in together. Once that's in, get it all lined up top here. Should be able to see the choke down through as you're pushing it down. When everything's lined up, we got this out here. Screw everything back together, and then we'll get her run. Get this thing finished up here. Had a little bit of trouble getting this front cover on for some reason on this thing. I'm not sure what exactly that was, but just all tightened down. Spark plug wire back on. Make sure you take that off to begin with. Alright, on choke here. I bet give her a good prime. See what happens here. There it is, smoking quite a bit, but runs like a champ. The other one, we're gonna get it put back together also, finish it up, but same issue, same machine, whether it's a Yard Machines 24, Craftsman 22, MTD, they're all pretty much the same engine. If it looks like this, pretty much the same carburetor, all made by Huayi. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe to our page. Thank you. Short time later, Yard Machines all up and running. Same issue, just the carburetor, like almost everything.